There are plenty of overhyped altcoins across all of social media, and you hear about them from a ton of crypto influencers. These are going to be some realistic price points based off true blockchain data, market sentiment, and from someone that's had 8 years of investing experience. And yes, that is me, of course. Your favorite altcoin is probably in this video, and it's just my opinion. This is nothing personal at all. Not financial advice either, but with that being said, let's get into it. The first altcoin in this video that I want to talk about is XRP. Now, XRP, there's a lot of misconception around XRP and the fact that everyone thinks that there's some massive use case for the XRP token itself, not understanding that RippleNet, right, the company behind XRP, just created something called RLUSD, which is a stablecoin that they will use on RippleNet to transact globally, which was initially XRP's use case. So now I beg the question to all you XRP lovers out there, what is the use case for XRP? I'll wait. When you talk about the XRP Foundation constantly selling XRP to fund operations with RippleNet, then you start to see the bigger picture, right? And I'm going to bring you through a few other things that are going to prove my points in my data. There's only 100 billion XRP tokens out there, right? 80 billion of those have been used to fund RippleNet. Now, out of that 80 billion, you also have a big portion of it being used to facilitate political interests, right? So if you have the founder and a lot of the heads of XRP selling a ton of their tokens, if I believed in something, I wouldn't sell it. There's a reason why most people hold Bitcoin over time. And there's a reason why people like to hold strong assets over time. They don't like to sell those assets. If I'm led to believe that XRP is so valuable, then why are the people that hold XRP, the people that run the XRP Foundation, are selling like crazy out the wazoo, right, as they say? And whenever I pose this question to people that invest in XRP or that believe in XRP's future, they can never answer this question. Now, RippleNet may be as big as everybody else is talking about. It may be the infrastructure that's used between banks globally. But I feel at this point that XRP is pretty much just a cash cow, and a lot of retail is being tricked and scammed out of the money they make to invest in XRP, while all of the funds are being pushed towards RippleNet. There's a reason why they're focusing on RippleNet and RLUSD, because they see all the stablecoin bills are about to get passed, all the fees that are going to be generated from this, right? You got PayPal that has a stable coin now. You have a lot of the massive institutions that want to start stable coins. All the big banks want to have stable coins. With that, I want to show you something as well. This is the Ripple site, by the way. Real-time payments and easy fiat to stablecoin on and off ramps. That was everything XRP was supposed to be. So you're trying to tell me now RLUSD is doing everything that XRP was supposed to be, and I'm supposed to believe in XRP? It's backwards. So when it comes to a particular price point for something like XRP, I can't see anything more than a 4x from current price points. And right now it's sitting at a $136 billion market cap. I actually think I'm being pretty generous, but only time will tell, of course, which would put it right at $9 per token as well. And we'll have XRP sat at a $530 billion market cap. Next on this list is Ethereum, one of the older chains that we have in crypto, of course. And I want to bring up the fact that Ethereum, the actual gas token Ether, will constantly be used amongst the layer 2s and Ethereum chain. I do think that institutions will be building on Ethereum initially until they can see some sort of stability and longevity from a lot of these other newer chains that are faster, that can process more transactions per second, that are a lot cheaper. You're talking about fractions of a penny when you're trading on something like Base or Arbitrum. Why would you stay on a chain like Ethereum? Just doesn't make sense. And this is why we've slowly seen revenue and trading volume go down on Ethereum, and people have chose to use things like Arbitrum and Base and a few other chains as well, but those are the layer 2 specifically for Ethereum. And I think this trend is going to continue as well. You can see all the regulatory clarity that Coinbase has, and that's only going to continue to trickle down from the Coinbase centralized exchange to the actual decentralized exchange Base. So I do think that they are going to gobble up a lot of Ethereum's revenue share over time. Mind you, Ethereum's been around for a lot longer, so it's no surprise as to why they have all of this backing and all this attention and all these resources and all this market share. Over time, I think we'll slowly start to see a shift. This was more of a band-aid fix for Ethereum, and this isn't a long-term solution, which is why they needed all of these layer 2 chains to be built. So with that being said, I will give Ethereum from this current price point around a 3.25x. That'll be just under 81 $100 per token and will have it sat at a $978 billion market cap by the top of this cycle. I think that we'll experience a lot of sell pressure once we get close to the $1 trillion mark, similar in a sense of how we got to almost $1 with Doge, but a lot of psychological factors as to why we couldn't break above that $1 mark, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens, obviously. Next on the overhyped altcoins list is Cardano, and I know this video is gonna piss a lot of people off, but please just hear me out. You can have your own opinions, but just please hear mine out. When you come onto something like DeFi Llama, you can clearly see here the amount of protocols being built on certain chains. And if you look at something like Cardano, there's only 49 protocols being built on Cardano. You only have 22,000 active wallet addresses, not to mention, you only have about $4.2 thousand in 24-hour revenue, which is actually pretty low. You also only have 3.5 in DEX volume across the entire chain. Now, when you look at other things like one of my favorites, obviously Base, you have 1.22 million addresses currently on here. That's almost 50 times, or if not right around 50 times the amount of active wallet addresses, right? And when you come on over, you can also see they dwarf the amount of 24 hours in app volume as well, in revenue, sorry. And you can also see that the DEX volume is also set at $504 million in 24-hour DEX volume. So that just goes to show that a lot of this is just community hype and community driven. There is no money that actually is being injected into these chains and being transferred into these chains like Cardano. So for me personally, I can only see something like Cardano at most, at best, doing a 10x, which would have Cardano sit at a $5.75 price level, which is a $207 billion market cap. Next on this list of overhyped tokens, and yes, this one is going to surprise you. This is one of the networks I think is going to do best this cycle, and it is Solana. Now, this is overhyped at the moment because a lot of the liquidity, as you can see on chain, is being siphoned from Solana, the network, to a lot of the meme coins and a lot of the meme coin platforms on the network, with apps like Pump.Fund being probably one of the most recognizable names in the space, where 99.9% of traders lose money. Now, this is an article posted by Decrypt, and it says here right at the top, 0.4% of Pump Fund traders actually made more than $10,000 trading meme coins on Solana, which is kind of crazy. And if you look at some of the meme coin stats, you have about 40 to 50,000 new meme coins created daily. So what makes you think in your mind that you're going to be one of the people that picks one of these 50,000 meme coins that are being created every single day, right? It's completely bonkers. This is like playing the lottery. This is why I don't play the lottery. You're better off investing in things with utility, real world use case, and things that you can see take over market share. Not to mention that Solana goes down all the time and is unreliable as far as the outages. Now, do I still think a lot of the top performers are going to come out of Solana chain? I absolutely do, which is why I still have my money in certain altcoins within the Solana network, but this is kind of why I've stuck mostly to Base Chain and Sui, of course, because I just feel like they're more reliable and more secure networks, and I feel a lot safer holding my value on these chains than I would, honestly, on Solana, but there's still plenty of opportunity on Solana. I don't want that to go unnoticed. But with that being said, I have about a 5.3x from this current price point, which would put Solana at an $830 per token. And that would put it at a $443 billion market cap. Next on this list is Tron. Now, this is an old dog as well. This is a network that I absolutely hate because it's entirely a scam, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. Similar to Cardano, you only have 35 protocols being built on the network. But when you look at a lot of the metrics, they seem really good, about like $86 billion in TVL, right? Stablecoin, $81 billion. DEX volumes up at 30 million, which is not that bad. 24-hour fees at 1.2 million. And you may be saying to yourself, oh, this is not so bad. But when you start to understand that Justin Sun, the founder and creator of Tron, owns like 80% of all the value on his own network, you start to realize that a lot of these numbers aren't as they seem. And mind you, this is all alleged, of course, but it would make sense that he owns most of the tokens, because when you look at all the active wallet addresses and you're like, you never hear anyone talk about who's investing on Tron or doing swaps or doing transactions on Tron. And clearly no one's building on Tron because there's only 35 protocols. So who the hell is actually using this? They say a lot of Asia is, but in my opinion, I think most of Asia is actually on Binance, BSC chain. So for me, I personally don't like Tron. I think that a lot of the numbers are extremely deceiving, and you can see that on chain. Currently, I can't see much more than a 3x for the current price point of Tron, which would put it at 84 cents per token, and will have it sat at around an $80 billion market cap overall, which is not that much higher from where it's at right now. But mind you, I'm not a big believer. I think it's a massively overhyped chain, like all of these are on the list. That's not to say you're not going to make some money. I just think it's a little overhyped, and people need to be a little more realistic about some of these price points that they're calling for on all of the altcoins I've talked about in this video up to this point. Do me a favor and list some of the altcoins in the comment section that you think are massively overhyped. I'd love to know your opinion. But until next time, I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.